Today, we're going to dive into a really old story, but one that has this incredibly urgent message that honestly feels like it could have been written for right now. It's all about a city on the brink of total collapse, and the single warning that changed absolutely everything.
But seriously, just think about that for a second. An entire city, I'm talking everyone from the king down to the lowest person on the street, doing a complete 180, all at the same time? What could even do that? A massive earthquake? Some kind of political revolution?
Well, it turns out the answer is way simpler than that. And that's what makes this story so powerful. It wasn't a natural disaster, it wasn't a military coup. It was just words. A message.
Okay, so let's set the scene. You've got a city, you've got a messenger, and you've got a mission that, let's be real, sounds like a complete suicide mission.
So first, you have Nineveh, a huge, powerful, bustling city, but it had become pretty wicked. Then you've got Jonah, a prophet who gets the less than glamorous job of being the bearer of very, very bad news. His mission? To walk straight into this powerful city and tell them God is about to wipe them off the face of the map. And here's the message he gives them. It is brutally simple. Just a few words. No fire from the sky, no long, drawn-out speech, just a countdown clock to total destruction. 40 days more, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. You'd totally expect them to laugh him out of town, right? Or worse? But what happened next? Well, that's why we're still telling this story thousands of years later. What happened next was just completely unexpected. This immediate, citywide response to a simple warning. We can call it the Nineveh effect. And at the very heart of their reaction is this one powerful idea, repentance. And look, this is so much more than just saying my bad. It's a deep, sincere turning away from your old life and a full-on commitment to change everything. It's a change of heart that leads to a change of action. What's so amazing is how total this was. It wasn't just a handful of people. It was like a domino effect. The regular citizens heard the warning and they actually believed it. Then the king himself hears about it, and he makes it official, ordering a citywide fast. This wasn't for show. Everyone, from the most powerful to the least, genuinely changed their ways. And the result? The city was spared. Okay, so you'd think the story about Nineveh would be held up forever as the gold standard, right? The perfect example of how to get things right. But fast forward a few centuries, and the story gets used in a totally different way. Not as a model for success, but as a really sharp warning. And that's the real puzzle here, isn't it? Why would Jesus take this incredible success story and use it to call out his own generation? What were they doing that was so different? So let's jump forward in time. The scene is completely different. You've got a crowd around Jesus, but they're not really listening with open hearts. Instead, they're demanding a show. They want a big, spectacular, flashy miracle from the sky that would force them to believe. And the difference between the two groups is just night and day. The people of Nineveh, they heard a simple warning from a stranger and acted on faith, changing immediately. This new crowd, though, nope, they demanded proof first. Their whole attitude was, show us a big sign, and then maybe we'll think about changing. And this gets right to the core of Jesus's point. He warns them that this constant search for some spectacular sign is actually making them blind. It's keeping them from seeing the real message and the messenger standing right in front of them.
So Jesus pretty much tells them, you want a sign? I'm right here. I am the sign. His very presence, his teachings, that was the living, breathing call to change. And it was way more profound than Jonah's simple warning ever was.
So this contrast between Nineveh's immediate action and the other crowd's demands for proof, it's not just some dusty old history lesson. It actually tells us something really important about, well, us, about human nature. And this whole idea of hearing a call to change and actually responding, that is the absolute heart of the Christian season of Lent. For anyone not familiar, Lent is basically this 40-day period set aside for reflection, for a little course correction, a time to do exactly what the people of Nineveh did. The whole point of Lent, just like this quote says, is to answer that call to change without delay. Procrastination is not the goal. The story of Nineveh is the ultimate example of this. They show us that when you hear that call, the time to act is right now. So what's the big takeaway for us today? Well, First, a real, genuine call to change doesn't always show up with fireworks and flashing lights. And second, if we spend all our time waiting for that one perfect, undeniable sign before we act, we are probably going to miss the message that's right there in front of us. The big lesson from Nineveh is urgency. The time to respond is always now.
And that really leaves us with one final big question that this whole story kind of forces us to ask ourselves. What are the warnings that we're hearing in our own lives today, in our communities, in the world? And maybe more importantly, are we actually listening, or are we also waiting for a bigger, better sign before we finally decide to act?